this down. So try to speak a little loud.
Okay.
I have pretty decent volume, but for Garrett, do you want to be Garrett William or Garrett William Fitzner?
That's fine. Garrett William Fitzner is
Okay.
fine.
Your age
I'm 36.
and where did you grow up?
I grew up in Broadville, Pennsylvania.
Okay. In addition to your artwork, do you have a full-time job?
No.
No, you do not.
Nope.
Okay. Describe how you work. Like, what setting do you work with? Music in the background? Do you like it quiet?
I like watching movies, and I also like listening to music, so I switch
Okay.
off between both of them.
Okay. Do you paint outdoors, indoors, both?
I do all my work indoor.
Indoors.
Yep, on
Okay.
a desk.
What are some of your methods? Acrylic, pastels? Do you use specific brushes?
I use mainly pen and ink,
Okay.
calligraphy pen, dip pen. Coloring, I use all medias for coloring. I'll use markers, I use oils, I use inks, acrylics. Yes, I also use X-Acto knife to cut all my stuff out by hand. I don't use any templates or nothing like that. It's all done by hand. And I do pop-up designs too, where it's done in layers. I focus on cutting out a lot of different negative space. I like to do abstract stuff where it's experimental, where I'll just throw ink on either paper or a canvas or really anything, and then I'll start looking at it and I will improvise off of it and see what I see in it, and then I'll build it from there.
Okay. Good. So that also describes your style of art too. Do you ever do stills or photography, or is it all abstract and free?
In the past, I have done photography stuff where I will take a picture and then I will print it onto paper, and then I will add watercolors and ink to it like that. I have done stuff like that in the past. I haven't really been working that way lately. I've been doing more interactive stuff where I want to be able to show people that I have moving parts in there, that I use pinwheel designs and cutout designs. I'm trying to be a little more interactive with my art in 3D type work.
Okay. Now we're going to get a little deeper.
Oh no.
Philosophical. What role do you think artists have in our society today?
Wow, that is a really hard question. I think our roles as artists is to I think that we should show a piece of ourselves, like who we are as individuals, and I think that we also should show how society works too in artwork. I think it should have a mix between both, that you should be able to portray yourself and also your environment around you. That's where I like to go with things. I like to do things in an abstract way because I feel abstract. Then I also like to take things that are like certain in our lives, like buildings and machines and stuff like that, and I like to add that in my artwork in an abstract way, though, because that's kind of how I feel about things, in like a surreal way, because a lot of times I look at things as an artist in a surreal way. I don't really like to look at things as in like a very realistic way. Like as an artist, I want to portray the surreal side of things and not so much the realistic side of the way we are.
Okay. So with schools that tend to cut funding for their art and music clubs and sort of deposit that more toward their football and sports, do you think that it's important and vital that we keep music and art in school?
Oh, of course. I definitely think art and music is a super important thing for children to understand and learn about. But I also think that it's not necessary for an artist or a musician to have to go to school to do those things. I think that you can also do it on your own. I think it should be both ways. I think it's all right for artists not to go to school, and I think it's all right for artists to go to school too. I think it all depends on the individual and where you want to go with things. For them like taking money away from the art programs and stuff and putting them into other things like, you know, sports and those things, I think that, to me, I don't agree with that. I mean, you know, I think, you know, it's both of them are very important things, you know, like athletics, and that to me isn't a very important thing too for kids to understand, and art and music is another very important thing that's, you know, vital to our society. You have to have both, you know, like you can't give one more to the other and you know, take away from the other. They both have to be, you know, looked at in an equal way. That's the way I look at it.
A lot of people think that art and music and those kind of outlets are therapeutic in the way of handling things like mental illness and depression and anxiety and stress. What do you say to that? Do you agree?
Yes, that's me as an artist. That is very important, because that is my therapy. That's how I cope with everything around me, the good and the bad. And you can, you know, you look at my artwork and you see it, you know, you see the good and the bad and things, and like that's how I you know, deal and cope with my depression and my anxieties. Just like anyone has their own outlets for, if they're depressed, they go into their outlet. My outlet is art and music, and I also like putting my energy and depression into physical things like sports and you know, activities that are, you know, like sports and athletics. That I think both of them are very vital.
Okay. How long have you been an artist?
I've just started doing artwork professionally within this last year, but I've always, ever since I was a little kid, art was very important to me. I always drew, and I got in a lot of trouble in school actually for drawing. Yes, I would always be doodling and drawing, and teachers would be like, "No, don't do that. You got to pay attention to this." And it was just something that I helped deal with my boredom when I was in school, and it helps me deal with boredom in my you know, life now too. You know, like, so yeah.
And a lot of that ties into inspiration, but do you have other things that inspire you in your day-to-day life?
I think just life in general is inspiring, and seeing other artists that are very creative and doing different things is very inspiring. Seeing other musicians and seeing what they do and how they portray their music in life, that is super inspiring. Also, athletics is very inspiring. See someone being so good at what they do is inspiration to me to get better, you know, and work harder.
So you think it's really important for somebody to have an outlet in some way, whether it's sports or art?
Yeah, and anything that you do as a human being, you have to have some type of positive outlet to do anything, because, you know, it's so therapeutic and it helps so much. Yeah, it's very important.
Do you have any favorite artists?
Ralph Steedman is probably my favorite artist, and Dr. Seuss is probably my favorite artist.
And what advice would you give to an artist who is afraid to try, who's afraid to pick up that brush? Or
don't be afraid, just do it. Don't fear don't fear anything. I feel like fear is what stops people from doing anything. They're afraid to change, and don't, just do it. Stop thinking so much and just create.
Be free and not conform.
Yeah, like, to me, everything that stops me from doing anything is my own fear and anxiety. And once I stop thinking about that and just doing and working and keeping my mind focused on the future and progressing, and keep fear. Don't let fear stop you from doing anything, because if you did, you wouldn't do anything. You know, like, fear is it's the, you know, like, that's one thing society tries to do to us. You know, fear us into not doing what we love to do, and, you know, you gotta put that aside and not care so much about what people think about what you do, because as an artist or musician, you have to do what you do, and people, if they see you love it and they see you have a passion, some people are going to draw to it, and they're going to be like, wow, you know, I see that this guy has a passion for it, and it's not everyone's going to understand what you're doing, But there will be people that will understand what you do, and that's that's a huge help as an artist or a musician, to see the positive, to see people's eyes light up when they look at your work or when they hear your music. You can see that it engages them, and that's important.
And do you have anything else artistic in your life? Do you play music?
Yes, I do. I play music. I play guitar. I play bass. I play keyboards. I play more exotic instruments like sitar, tipple. I try to play music all the time. Like it helps calm me down, and yeah, that's a huge outlet for me. Ever since I was a young teenager, and I got in trouble a lot, and that was the one thing that I was able to escape to and really focus, and it helped me get smart. And it's very music is one of those things that just pushes you into being a better person, at least for me.
And do you perform privately, or do you do gigs? Do you have a band name?
Yeah, I work as a duo with a buddy of mine. We go by Ningen Kiki. We kind of do like a folk experimental type thing. I also do my own stuff. My own stuff I go by just by my name mostly. But yeah.